Welcome, everyone. I am Chris Gore from Film Threat. I hope you're doing well today. I'm currently Allenless, but I am also, I was at WonderCon this weekend, and I have a terrible cold. I will do my best today to chat with you, to chat with Alan. We'll have a good conversation. Today on the show, I'm going to look at our roundup here. Today, we're going to be talking about Star Trek versus Star Wars. We'll talk about the latest episodes of The Mandalorian and Picard, and we will discuss where these franchises are. Which one is the better one? Can you love them both? Perhaps you can love them both. But also, I really want to get into where these franchises are today. Which is the healthier franchise? Which one has a future we can look forward to? So much to talk about, including your chat comments and questions. I can't wait to chat with you. And I'm just going to apologize right off the top. I'm not doing so good. I was thinking of doing the whole show on the couch. I thought that would not be good. So let's get things started. Let's kick it off. It's Hollywood on the Rocks on a Wednesday, and I'm happy you're spending your Wednesday afternoon, evening, morning with us. Let's go. And Alan's having some internet issues as we speak. Where is Alan? Where is Alan right now? I don't know. Let me see. Alan, where are you at, sir? That was Alan's cue to come on the show. That actually was Alan's cue to come on the show. I'm just going to wait for Alan, but a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Smash that like button like Mickey Mouse smashes me in the face. Oh, wow. Still no Alan. I'm stalling right now. So let's see who's in the chat, folks. Let's see who's here. Oh, wait. Is this, I think Alan's here. Alan, you here? Alan, hey, buddy. Hey, pal. Alan.
Any better now?
Oh, wow. Alan, you sound like a robot.
Okay, here, let me do this again.
No disrespect. You look terrible and you sound terrible. Oh, there he's gone. All right. We're just gonna stall. And here we go. I'm texting Alan. I texted him a note. Let's see if he comes back. But let's see who's here in the chat. Hail Chat says Foresight. David Glenn says, howdy, everyone. David Glenn goes on to say, Captain Kirk has laid more pipe than Wabasha Plumbing. I'm not familiar with that plumbing company. Are they a very successful plumbing company? We'll see. Davina Duckworth says, good afternoon. Hail Film. Well, I assume Robert Paul Champagne, you meant to say Film Threat. Davina Duckworth says, as a sci-fi fan, I would never say Star Trek versus Star Wars. It's best to enjoy them both. But there are points worthy of debate. We're going to get into it if Alan is able to join us. And Davina Duckworth goes on to say, and props to Greg and Tim Hildebrandt for painting those wonderful first Star Wars posters. They really fired up everyone's imagination. I love that stuff. When you see like the early Star Wars marketing, when they really didn't know what they had, and marketing back then was incredibly unsophisticated. It was just straight up unsophisticated. The original tagline for Star Wars was, it's about a boy, a girl, and a galaxy. How would that go over today? I'm not quite sure. Solomon Thornton is here and says, Star Wars and Star Trek should equally be good. It's a shame that one is better than the other. Well, we'll see about that. And is Alan here? I need to do his intro again because I want to make sure that he gets to see it. Alan?
It's still bad, isn't it?
It's still bad. Yeah, it's still bad.
Yeah, okay. You're gonna have to give me like 5 more minutes.
Okay, I am going to talk to people in the chat, and I'll plug
All
some
right.
things, and we'll have fun hanging out. All right. The poster for the episode number 4 is ingrained in my memory forever, says David Glenn. I suspect Davina Duckworth. I suspect Disney will try to sell Lucasfilm to pull them out of the red. I think that they're going to have to sell something. I think that Marvel is the healthier franchise. It's possible to say, first of all, Marvel is much more successful than Star Wars. I mean, you have brands within brands when you talk about characters. Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Thor, on and on. The Avengers being the strongest and best performing of all of them. But I think that may happen, that is a likely scenario. They are starting this week going through a round of layoffs, approximately 4,000 people across departments. The only thing actually making money right now are the theme parks. The Disney theme parks are making money. The movies and the streaming service are not. Something's got to give. It might end up being Star Wars or Lucasfilm. Who would buy Lucasfilm? I could see some people out there buying it. What if something like a Netflix or an Apple, these are two companies that actually, Apple in particular is liquid. They have the ability to do that. I can see that. I can see that happening. Zavin says I think the only negative thing I've heard about season 3 of Picard is that it's given Kurtzman more money and credit than he deserves. Yeah, but I think the fans know it. They know that it's Terry Matalas all the way. He's the one. He's the one that's creatively behind season 3 of Picard. Excuse me for a moment. I may occasionally have to go off camera to blow my nose. What can you say? I'm drinking tea and I'm popping Dayquils. So there you go. They are showing The Empire Strikes Back at my local theater on May the 4th, says Solomon Thornton. Oh my gosh, where is that? Can you post a link in the chat? I would love it. I would love it. No sweat, Chris, says Kimberly Moore, who's a member. Thank you for that. I apologize. Alan's having internet problems. I'm sick and down for the count. I actually thought about today when I woke up. I thought, I don't think I can do the show today. We have never missed a show Wednesday and Friday. We have never missed a show. And I thought, I've just got to power through. I got to power through and do it. Yeah. There's Tony Bauer says no sick days in the culture war. And John Manalang, thank you for that. John Manalang says, may the force be with you today, Gore. I'm going to do my best. But I was at, let me just, a couple things. I was at WonderCon this weekend. And I probably talked to a bunch of you. WonderCon was a blast. Walked through the hall, talked to a bunch of dealers there. I bought some old school Toho Godzilla stuff, which is pretty awesome. I also bought some magazines and books. Bought this magazine called Retro Magazine, which I'm very happy that I've discovered, and ran into a very good friend of mine, Jeff Tucker. Check this out. He gave me this pin that says Tucker Time. So there you go. Jeff Tucker, his amazing nerdy family. I'm a big fan of Jeff. Now let's see. This is out. Third time is the charm. Third time is the charm for Alan. Alan, let's go. Let's do this. Hey.
Again, I could have just done that for you. You didn't have to.
Oh my God. Oh, you have no idea how happy I am now that you are here.
Oh man. Yeah, it was fun watching your slow decline over WonderCon weekend.
Oh yeah, I just got more and more tired, and my voice got. It's because you've seen me in these situations, Alan. I get so enthusiastic.
Yeah.
I'm just like constantly talking, and then by the end of the night, was this Saturday?
Yeah,
Saturday.
last time I saw you was Saturday.
Yeah, I was. And then I went back on Sunday. I'm a glutton for punishment. I thought I'm going back Sunday. Nothing can stop me. I have this weird philosophy when it comes to like my body, and that is that I am in control of my body. And by that I mean, like, if my body says, nah, we got to take a break. We're just gonna lay here and rest up. And I'm like, hell no. So it's like the battle between my brain and my body going, no, we're going to Comic-Con on Sunday. It's the last day. I got there at 3:30, shopped for about an hour and a half, just buying comics and whatever. There's great deals on used comics, and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. So, and it was great. We hung out all day Saturday, which was a blast.
You mind?
Oh, wait, Alan, now you're frozen.
Yeah.
There you go. How about that internet, Alan? Oh my God. Anyways, all right. Well, while you are fixing that, I'm going to let some people know about a couple of things. One, I got to share screen here. Wait, wrong thing here. I'm going to share screen. A couple things that I want to let people know because you have asked quite a bit. Okay. And Leo Cody, thank you for this graphic. Our trial. We are doing a trial on our YouTube channel. It will replace Hollywood on the Rocks starting Wednesday, May 3rd, which ironically is May the 4th Eve. Maybe we can come up with something clever for May the 3rd. But we're doing Critics Court, Star Wars on trial. We're putting Lucasfilm on trial for the murder of the Star Wars franchise. That trial begins May the 3rd. And one of the things that's going to be interesting is we're going to present 9 charges against Lucasfilm. We're going to bring on someone who will be the prosecutor, someone who will be the defense arguing in favor of Lucasfilm, and they will debate, and you're a part of that debate. One of the things Alan and I were talking about over the weekend was what the format of this is. It's a trial that is going to be conducted informally over a live stream, but effectively also it's a debate. It's a debate, and you'll be able to hear both sides. And what I'm hoping is to hear some really good arguments. What does everyone in the chat think about in terms of a format? I was thinking of dressing in a judge's costume. Hang on a second. Hey, Derek, you're supposed to come on at 2:50 p.m. Pacific time. So you're early. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Anyways, we're looking like, what do we do format wise? Should Alan, what should Alan's role be? What should my role be? Prosecution, defense, and we're going to have a sketch artist. We'll have like a close-up of someone drawing sketches while we're doing this. It starts May 3rd, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Alan, how's the internet?
Hopefully it's better. I shut down. Someone's been uploading videos who's not me, and I had to shut down every device in the house that's connected to the internet.
I mean, that should just be your default setting for when we're doing the show, right?
Yeah, well, other people live in this house too. And
yes, but this is very important.
Yes, I know.
This is very important.
It looks like we're stable, so that's
okay. Good.
Fingers crossed.
So you could get improved internet, or just put up a little thing. Get one of those refrigerator magnets and put up a thing that says, "Between these hours, please refrain from downloading games to the PS5."
Download is fine. It's the upload.
It's the upload. Okay, I got you. Okay. Anyways, so let's see, Alan, if you could help me out with the comments here, I'd really appreciate it. What are your some of your okay, here's some good. AJD Old Channel Archive says we need the 2012 clip of Kathleen Kennedy promising to George Lucas to keep his characters as he created them as evidence. That would be good. That would be good. Some other comments here. Doc Savage coming in hot with 2. Just know, Chris, that Doc Savage is proud of you. Well, there you go. Douchey McDouchex. Who's going to be Judge Judy and executioner? I don't know. We'll figure that out, but it's going to be, we have been working on graphics and videos for this trial for a while now. So I cannot wait. Zavin says, you need a stenographer to check the record and look up stuff about the movies and shows. Ooh, do you know who I think that could be?
Who?
Alan. That should be you. Use the Leia hairstyle as the wig, says Solomon Thornton. I don't know if I'm going to do that. OMG, please have Chato as prosecutor. Haha, says the nerd far away. Each week, we're going to have guest prosecutors. So we're looking at who are some of your favorite YouTubers that are, that would be good in a debate. I think Chato will be good. Maybe Ryan Cannell, maybe Gary Nerdrotic, maybe Drinker, Critical Drinker. Who else? We have a short list, but we'll bring them on. What's that?
I was going to ask you, did you get the super chats, or do I need to? You want to?
Oh, you need to.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
here's
right. At risk of repeating, I'll start.
Oh, I don't care. It's all good. It's all good, man. Yeah. Doc Savage also comes in and says, Alan, have you tried moving your trailer closer to the McDonald's you live in front of for better internet? Works for me, says Doc Savage. Positive Fandom says $4.99 for $4.99 says, hi, gents. Hope you guys are well. This Star Wars trial is a long time coming. A great opportunity to use the poll as a jury. That's what we will do. We're going to be doing polls during all the segments of the trial. So there you go. Shake and thank you for that. Shake from Hunger Team for 5. Hey, Chris. Hey, Alan. Love your channel. Please take my money. We will do that. Well, thank you for that. And Chief Cody says, get Eric on and make him defend Disney. Oh, we'll definitely do that. The other thing
he's
is,
such a shill for Disney.
How do we do? I think what I'll do is this. We'll do all the super chats at the end of the show. We will address them at the end of the show. But any chat comments that are particularly useful or good commentary, we'll put them up on screen, but we won't read them so that people can engage in the debate without being interrupted. Does that make sense? I do want to, this is something that we will organically, make tweaks to, because we are going to be doing another trial after this one. This is just our first, we're going to make this like an annual event. Or maybe every 6 months we'll do something like this. But, Mauler, that's a good suggestion, says Shake from Hunger Team. Mexican Iron Man is a famous YouTuber, says War Monkey. Someone says Gary as Drinker, Chato, Sarky, Jay. Yes. And we also need people for the, for the defense. We need people for the defense. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Smith says, what happened to all the amazing EU stories? George Lucas's dislike of them being part of his world turned into outright banning them. Big mistake.
Yes. That is one of the charges, by the way.
Yes, well, there you go.
I don't know specifically about Lucas disliking them, but basically ignoring the EU.
John Manalang says, Eric, quote, Quantum Mania is amazing, close quote, Weber. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Tonight we'll know if he watches this live stream or not.
I don't think he does. Subtle Deviancy for 5. Yeah, I always say to Eric, like, why don't you watch other YouTube shows? The way you get better on YouTube is you watch other people. You're not trying to be them. You're just trying to see, oh, that's an interesting idea. This person uses this graphic or poll or does this thing, or, oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. And I can't get Eric to watch other YouTubers. He says, Subtle Deviancy says, you guys were so fantastic on the Oscars live stream. You made Eric Weber look competent. Drunk 3PO is counsel for the defense. Oh, that's a good idea. I love Drunk 3PO. Jay's a super nice guy. But we want to let you know because it's one of the most frequent questions we get. When is Attack of the Doc coming out? And when are you doing the Star Wars trial? May 3rd. May 3rd. And we're going to do a little promo video next month to promote it, just to let people know that it's coming. One last thing I want to let people know. Attack of the Doc tickets are now on sale. You can go to the Frida Cinema. Go to thefridacinema.org. It's right here. I had it right here. You can come to the premiere. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's a screening at 8 p.m. and 10:15 p.m. The 8 p.m. tickets look like those are going to sell out. 10:15 p.m. is a screening directly after. There will be Q&As at both screenings. There's probably going to be a healthy amount of drinking that will be happening in the lobby where I will be. Alan will be hosting the Q&A. So the link is in the description for this episode. Go to thefridacinema.org. Get your tickets to Attack of the Doc. If you cannot attend that screening, the movie will be available for purchase on Vimeo and other video on demand platforms starting April 24th, which is the 21st anniversary of G4 TV. I hope you join me there. If not, check out the movie. I'm really excited for people to check out the movie. I sent it to a couple of critics. Okay, I sent a screener copy to a couple of critics. I'm already getting some very interesting feedback, and I'm like, I've been working on this so long. I'm like, I don't know if it's a good movie. But the feedback I've been getting is they really like it. So I cannot wait for you all to see it. It's going to be pretty easy to pick up. And we may even do like a watch party or do something fun on this channel.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, we'll do the watch party like a couple weeks after it comes out. And I'll get a bunch of people who worked on it. I'll get some former people from G4. And we'll like watch the movie and then do a live commentary. And then the Blu-ray comes out in July in time for San Diego Comic-Con. Cool. All right, let's get into it. We're gonna do? We're gonna pivot. What? We're gonna pivot and we're gonna talk about the Mandalorian episode. Why the hell are we still watching this?
Yeah. I mean, quite frankly, why are you still watching it? Because I've not seen the last episode.
Episode 5 came out today, and it's another one of these episodes where it kind of like it's telling like one story that's happening in this part of the galaxy, and then it's kind of bookended by some Mandalorian stuff and Grief Karga. The pirates have returned, or the pirates never really left. They are attacking Grief Karga's planet. He sends an urgent message to the New Republic, and you find out that basically trying to deal with the New Republic is like going to the DMV. So Tim Meadows plays this administrator who receives an urgent message. God, I forget the pilot's name. You would know. It's the Asian pilot.
Oh, I have no idea what name that is. Did you just drop out? Really?
No, I had to blow my nose.
Oh, okay.
There's an Asian pilot who's been in some previous episodes, and that pilot.
You're talking about the movie, right? Or are you talking about the TV series?
No, I'm talking about the TV show.
Okay.
He was in season 2.
Okay, I was thinking
just like
thinking Lando's Asian pilot, but
they're like space cops. Anyways, yeah. So he goes. I just forget
Sulu.
The name
That's who it is.
What's his name?
Sulu.
Oh, John Mannering, the Asian pilot, is Sulu. No, he's just like, he's a fine character. He's just Captain Narrative. You know, like whenever you need to give a piece of plot stuff to a character, you just give it to some inconsequential person. So the pilot is like, well, I'm going to do something. He flies all the way to Coruscant, goes to the administration building, shows them the message from Grief Karga that's on this little hologram. And then it's like, we're kind of like spread thin. We can't really do anything. So he goes and then talks to the Mandalorians that are on that beach. I have no idea what's going on there at that beach. They're just going through a series of trials and rituals with the foundlings. This is what Mandalorians do when they're on vacation. All of this is incredibly stupid. And I think it would actually be better. Carson, thank you, Retro Nerd Girl. I was watching Retro Nerd Girl this morning, actually. Carson is the character's name. Totally fine character. Just like, it's just plot device. Goes to visit Tim Meadows on Coruscant to basically get like we gotta help this, this Outer Rim star system to defeat these pirates, and something weird is going on. So here's what I feel about the show. Quick aside, I don't want to summarize the entire plot. It's just that this is not the Mandalorian show anymore. It's the Star Wars show, because it's focusing on events on Coruscant, the Mandalorian people as a whole, other events happening in the galaxy, like pirates with Grief Karga. I mean, I guess maybe you don't need spin-off shows, and maybe also it wouldn't be so irritating if they just dropped all these episodes at once, because I don't get that sense of urgency. Like when I watch an episode of Picard, I'm like, every episode ends on a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
These episodes don't, and it feels kind of unusual. Like, okay, all right, I just have to kind of remember. I do appreciate the recaps, but I think The Mandalorian I might have enjoyed it better if they just dropped all the episodes at once. Actually, maybe not. But in this episode, what you find out is basically the New Republic is just as incompetent as like it's, the federal government or the DMV. It's like, oh, we've got problems all over the galaxy. I'll have to go through all these messages from all these star systems, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do. It's sort of like this episode is all over the place. The most interesting thing that happens is that this is a spoiler, but I get the sense that not a lot of people are going to care. Carson finds an old Imperial shuttle where it appears as if Moff Gideon has escaped. He was off to prison, and it looks like Moff Gideon has did not make it to prison. I wonder wouldn't they know that? Wouldn't they get a message like, we've received the prisoner Moff Gideon. He is now going through retraining or whatever. Like, I feel like they would know this. How would they not know? If something like that happened in an Imperial shuttle that's like just sort of floating in space randomly with, it's all like destroyed, and the front dashboard, the front glass of it is like blown out. Wouldn't they know about that?
Everything you say makes me feel like I just don't care.
Here's where I'm at with The Mandalorian. Yeah. I feel like it would be a good show if it was a cartoon show. If The Mandalorian were animated with like CG animation, like Clone Wars, the sort of second incarnation of the Clone Wars, I think it would have been interesting, because that's the level of writing on the show. And Jon Favreau wrote this episode, and one of the things that bugged me is they kept bringing out this hologram. They kept bringing out we've seen the hologram 3 times. We don't need to see it again.
Let's assume everyone that says that The Mandalorian basically leads up to the sequels.
Right.
Let's assume they're right. I think that would have made a better movie than a stretched out television series. And that's what it sounds like, is that they're taking what Lucas did in 20 minutes and stretching it out over an entire television series. And it's just unnecessary storytelling. I mean, who asked for this? Who did the fans ask for this? Did we want that connection up to the sequels? Do we really want a nice tidy bow on the Star Wars universe? I certainly didn't. I certainly don't.
Well, I just, the show's not getting better. It's confused. It's all over the map. I don't know.
You could say the quality of the writing is much better than Kenobi, but there's storytelling issues that are just so it's so lackluster. That's essentially the feeling I get watching The Mandalorian.
On the positive side, I think the quality of the effects is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning the ships and everything, and the ship.
Andor was so much better, though.
The ship play, I think was actually pretty good. It's just the problem is because I don't feel that there are any stakes. They will never. The Mandalorian is fine in that Naboo starfighter. Why? Because he's with Grogu. They will never. He's never in any danger. He's never in any danger because Grogu's there. Oh wait, let's get to your chat comments and questions. But to wrap it up real quick on this, I'll say that episode 5 of The Mandalorian is not getting better. I think it's all over the map. Mm-hmm. I think it's the Star Wars show. It's not the Mandalorian show. I think that the stakes have not been outlined. And I think if they had began the first episode of the show with this discovering the Imperial shuttle with Moff Gideon gone, and then each episode had a clue, it would have been interesting. But the problem is also every piece of story information is dragged out.
Yeah.
Dragged out. There's even like stuff of just like Carson gets out of his X-Wing fighter, walks up to them. Those are like, no, you just cut to him. He's talking. And he's already shown. You cut to Carson, and all the Mandalorians have already seen the message from Greef Karga. And he says, we must help Greef Karga. The New Republic is spread too thin. Will you help us? The dialogue isn't like tight. Go back and watch the older Star Wars films. Mm-hmm. So much of it was just like the dialogue is so tight. They don't waste any time. They don't like, people aren't like, well, then that whole thing, by the way, I want to let you know, when characters walk up to something, you can notice this in shows like a lot of criminal procedural shows, lawyer shows, in particular the X-Files. Here's what they do. The directors have to meet a very specific running time. Let's say 48 minutes. In order to make that exact running time, what do? They've got a script that's around the length of what it would be, but stuff gets cut, whatever. They always film inconsequential action. What is inconsequential action? Scully and Mulder pull up to a house. They have a piece of dialogue that doesn't mean anything. They get out of the car. They walk up to the house. They knock on the door. All of that is killing time. It's killing time to make a running time. But you don't need to do that in a show like The Mandalorian where it's streaming and it doesn't matter what the length is. These episodes should be tight, like if you look at old episodes of even the old Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers serials from the 30s, those things just like they'd wipe and like you're going here, you're doing this. Part of the thing that made those things so interesting, the old serials, which heavily influenced Star Wars, is they didn't waste any time getting you to the next thing. And they're doing that in this show, and it's really frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, to me, the crime here is I don't know where we're going. I don't know where this is headed. You know, I feel lost that someone's just kind of dragging me along in a wagon, and I have no idea where we're going. We have an idea, you know, the sequels, I guess, is the idea, but again, why Picard works is because that cliffhanger makes you want to come back for the next episode, and that just doesn't happen here.
We're going to get into it, but I'll say, look, I'm going to keep watching because I want to talk about it, but I'm not watching it to enjoy it. Buford T. Justice for $49.99. Wow. You know what that deserves? I'll tell you what it deserves. Alan Topless. I love that tattoo on you, Alan. Yeah. I think it looks amazing.
That was actually the night my wife fell in love with me.
Buford T. Justice for $49.99 says, never saw the point of choosing between Star Wars and Star Trek. I love them both. They are completely different. The only thing they have in common is space. Wars is science fantasy, and Trek is science fiction. I don't think you can truly compare them.
Yep.
Well, now what's the point of us doing a live stream for another hour and 20 minutes? Buford, that's exactly the point. I love them both for different reasons. I will say this. One is healthier than the other when it comes to the future of the franchise. And I would say it's probably too late for both of them. You can't remake the sequels. If you remake the sequels now, it's like admitting you're wrong. Mm-hmm. Star Trek, there's been so much bad Star Trek the last years that even the third season of Picard, if they decide that that's the tone going forward, I would love that. But I wonder which one. We'll discuss that later after we get through your chat comments and questions. But I want to know which of the franchises has the most potential going forward. So we'll see. More comments and questions here. Thoughts on fitness with Nigel. Alan, you're being kind. Wizard Check says, Alan, do you know all Asian actors, right?
Absolutely. I know every Asian ever.
Well, it's what's so funny is, though, first of all, I know you're joking, but whenever we actually do review something and like there's an Asian character, Alan does feel like he needs to point it out.
You know what? It's true. I mean, look, let's be real. Asian actors are not something you see in a lot of in television and movies, and if they do, they usually come from overseas. My Asian American acting brothers and sisters, they don't get a whole lot of work. There are always exceptions, but and so that's always been the thing in my family and with my friends. Oh, there's an Asian in it. Let's all watch. But again, we've just accepted tokenism, and that's what it all becomes. We are the tokens, and we get excited. That's why I think, when the animated Mulan came out, that was very exciting and incredibly exciting, and even Joy Luck Club, and they're just so few and far between. So there we go.
Wizard Check says, I'm now picturing Alan at home cataloging every Asian actor in a scrapbook. Is that true?
Yeah, now I got to add Carson to it.
Add Carson. Carl Bruce for 10 euros says, sending love from Berlin. Love your discussions about movies. Do you think we will ever see a live action 100 Bullets movie? It's an epic comic run by Azareo. Alan, what are your thoughts?
I think the question is, do we want to see a live action 100 Bullets? Or can we let classics just remain and hope that Hollywood doesn't come in and ruin it?
That's sort of my thing right now. Look, they made the Star Wars sequels, but can you imagine if they had made the Star Wars sequels in like the early 2000s or say in 2010? The culture war wasn't as amped up back then. We could have gotten kind of a pure, fun Star Wars adventure with Han, Luke, and Leia and new characters that I'm sure we would come to love. But we didn't get that because of the time in which these movies came out. And there are no do-overs for that. Carrie Fisher is no longer with us, unfortunately. It's tragic.
Han Solo's dead.
Well, no. Harrison Ford's still here. I mean, look, they're using I don't know. Maybe it's the deep fake stuff. They could do a deep fake Star Wars movie with Han, Luke, and Leia. Never doing that. That was the biggest mistake ever. I think that they miscalculated how huge of a mistake that was.
Okay, so Han, Luke, and Leia, you can mark that off your bingo card now.
Oh, is that? Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Is that what people are saying in the chat?
No, but we all think it.
Well, that's fine. I'll take it. Magnum Norse for 5 says, we need more representation for gravediggers, more female gravediggers. This is, why don't we have that?
Yeah. How about people who pave our roads and build our buildings?
Whenever they talk about representation, it's always like for more glamorous roles, not like things like, for example, people who work in sanitation.
Yeah, I know. Every morning every week when my garbage picked up, it's just cis men.
Yeah.
Every week.
Wes for $4.99 says, when I sit down to watch Mando, it feels like homework. The joy is gone. I'm in Gen X age demographic too. We are the main audience. Do they care? That's the thing is I actually don't think they care about the classic Star Wars fans, of which I am one. People who grew up with it. Because here's why this is a colossal mistake. Can I tell you why it's a huge mistake to not appeal to the older fans? This is why. because one, we probably actually, when it comes just overall as a demographic, we tend to have more money. We have more money, and we will spend it on things that we love. And secondly, those of us that are parents will pass on our love for these types of pop culture things, whether they be movies, music, whatever, begrudgingly. We'll and not begrudgingly, meaning we're going to pass it on to a new generation that may begrudgingly go like, you're Star Wars, whatever, and then they'll end up liking those classic movies. What are your thoughts on that, Alan?
Yeah, as parents, we're the ones with the money. We're the ones who bring the children to see these things. Children don't go to the movies by themselves. Like in college, I was a business major, and it was all about money. It was all about trying to figure out who your audience was and appealing to that audience. And if you had a story that had that broad appeal, you were going to make money. But now it seems like, sorry, I think I'm echoing here. But now, like I was joking earlier when I was saying, whenever there was an Asian in some movie, all the Asians would get together and watch it and cheer on that Asian. But that only lasts so long. You still have to produce a good story. And this idea that diversity, equity, inclusion, all that stuff is somehow the motivator that causes everyone to want to see or whatever your movie or your story is. It's just not true. I don't go to, okay, I do go to movies because there's Asians in it. But,
busted.
But again, that only lasts so long, and no one says, oh, this movie is so diverse. Let's go out and see the movie. That in fact, a lot of these things keep people away from the movie when you tokenize minority groups like
that. Yeah. We've got over 500 people watching right now live. Please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and slap that like button like Mickey Mouse slaps me in the face. Oh, wow. There you go.
I missed that bell. We need that bell in there.
Yeah, we need that bell. We'll just, you know what? We're doing this today because we're talking. Yeah. Can you do, Alan, let's do a poll. Put Star Trek, Star Wars, or I love them both.
Okay, let me.
3 choices. Does that make sense? Star Trek, Star Wars, I love them both. Here's what I want to think. Here's what I want you to keep in mind. Okay, Star Trek, Star Wars. Keep in mind where the state of each franchise is today. What is the state of each franchise? Star Trek or Star Wars? Let's get that poll in there, and then we'll pivot to that conversation. But we've got a lot of super chats and comments and questions here. Lord Thoth, Alan is racist.
You don't know how many times people have come to, well, you have to watch it because there's Asians in it. You just support your people.
Really? People say that?
Oh, yeah. Especially early on. Early in the days when we weren't in movies and television.
Yeah, yeah. The Joker's voice for 2. Hail, Chris Gore. Hoping to see you again in Vegas. Well, thank you, the Joker's voice. I'm not 100%. I'm like 80 to 80%, 90%, because I would have to I'd have to go there to work, and I could only have fun in the evenings. So, I mean, is there anything to do in Vegas? I don't know. We'll see.
Hey, by the way, this might be of interest to you. Current subscribers.
There you go.
We just need one person. One person subscribe.
One new person to subscribe. We'll hit that 70K mark. But Len Barnett, who's a member, thank you for that. Apparently, Moff is trying to get revenge on Din by framing the Mandalorians for his escape. That's what I got. Well, you were paying much more attention than I did. I just thought they were trying to convey the information that he escaped. Why would Mando try to help him? But I really feel that. What's that?
No, go ahead.
Sorry,
I'm trying to get this.
What I really think is if you could take the same scripts for these Mandalorian shows and animate them, I actually think that they would be better. So there you go. Let's see. Imperfect. So Star Trek has always had more heart, in my opinion. It's almost more cerebral. That's true. I would say that there are aspects of Star Wars that are spiritual, right? Belief in the Force. You need to believe in the Force in order to wield it. So there you go. Alan, you're being kind. We got that one. Donnie Pearson says, I must be honest, the score by Joseph Shirley is among the things I love best about season 3 of Mando. Likewise, the Sentai-esque Mandos. Fair enough. Fair enough. Alan Horkin, much as I want to defend Team Star Wars, the season of Mandalorian is just not connecting. This episode should have been exciting, but it felt entirely underwhelming. Tend to agree.
Okay, the poll is up. The poll is up.
Great. The poll is up. We will reveal in less than an hour. Does that make sense? Less than an hour? Is that enough time? All right.
There we go. Okay.
Subtle Deviancy. I think we were talking on Twitter. Says community college creative writing class would have been better scripts than Mandalorian. Well, there you are. And Zach says Flaccid Phoenix is a famous YouTuber. We could use Flaccid Phoenix's help. I would love his help. All right. Have we gotten to all the chats? Comments?
I was saying out the poll, so I missed a whole bunch. Let's see.
We'll find out. All right. Let's pivot for a moment. I'm going to pivot. You ready, Alan?
Yes.
All right. Let's get into it. This is the debate. Star Trek versus Star Wars, which is better, which is deader? I want to know, I think there are two aspects to this debate currently. One is the better franchise. And we've got a vote that we're running right now, a poll. We will reveal the results of the poll. You can pick Star Trek, you can pick Star Wars, or you can pick I love them both. Now, here's what we're going to do. If you pick I love them both, which you are perfectly fine in doing, that's okay. You can love them both. I'm probably leaning more towards that camp, but we're going to take the results of Star Trek and Star Wars, and that will decide it. That is going to decide it. But I think what you've got to look at is like the history of the franchise, right? I mean, Star Wars started 11 years after the original Star Trek series in 1966, rolled out to the public. 11 years later, the first Star Wars movie came out and changed the game. There's actually a very famous photograph of George Lucas meeting Gene Roddenberry. You need to find that photo. I believe they only met once. And there's so many similarities between the two men, George Lucas and Gene Roddenberry. They're both kind of shepherds of their franchise. They were both very controlling, and I think a very good way, for good reasons. We've seen what happens when a franchise goes off the rails. Okay. And then with Gene Roddenberry, he had a different story. The franchise kind of got away from him, and he was sidelined, and was always kind of there waiting in the wings, just like, oh, this would never happen, or Captain Kirk would never do this. And he had very specific things that he wanted to see happen, in the series. He was involved in the very first, there it is. So you got to zoom in on that. That's great. Zoom in on that pic. I love it. Yeah. Yep. George Lucas meeting Gene Roddenberry. That had to be, it looks like the 90s. Or maybe 80s.
Had to be early 80s.
Early 80s.
Yeah. That's kind of the George's in kind of that Saturday Night Fever kind of suit.
I love it. Yeah, so that's the 80s. Cool. But when you look at Star Trek, there have been hundreds of hours of stories being told, hundreds of hours over the course of decades in multiple series, each, for the most part, focused on starships, particular starships, and a different group of characters. Star Wars is a film series that is only now getting into television with, let's be honest, mixed results. So you can look at which is the better series over the course of time. You can also look at which series has fallen on harder times. For my money, this is one of those impossible questions for someone who grew up watching Star Trek with my dad. My father was really into NASA, anything involving space travel. He loved it. We would watch episodes of Star Trek and then have in-depth discussions after with the questions that Star Trek brought up through so many different episodes that were, had lessons. I never felt preached to by Star Trek. I always felt like it gave you fodder for thought. Star Wars was certainly perhaps the more fun, a large universe to play in, probably the less scientifically. Science isn't like a big part of Star Wars. Let's be fair. Star Wars is more of a fairy tale, more of an adventure story.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best episodes of Star Trek, they don't leave the ship. This current season of Picard, season 3, it's kind of a bottle episode. They don't leave the ship that much. They go on to other ships, they go to other places, but they haven't thus far been to another planet per se.
Yeah. Well, the series is more like the movies, the Star Trek movies, than it is the television show.
And you know what? I'm loving it.
Yeah.
So what is the franchise that is better currently? I'm going to say Star Trek is in better shape.
Mm-hmm.
If it's possible for them to continue in this direction, I don't know. I would be stoked if there was something that was more in the vein of Picard. Who knows, though, it may be too late, meaning like whatever data they're collecting, which is what, watched hours, right? Mm-hmm. Are people, have they seen an uptick with season 3 of Picard? Usually people kind of trail off. I don't know. Will we ever know? I don't know, because I don't even believe the numbers that the streaming services present themselves.
Well, let's put it this way. If we take the best of new Star Wars and the best of new Star Trek, so Picard and Andor, Picard clearly wins it. It is, I mean, it's Andor had Andor as, I liked it. I think it's sad that it's the best. It shouldn't be the best. It should be in the middle somewhere, but that shows you the state of the overall franchise. And there's still problems with it. I think, we talked about how Andor tends, the cuts from episode to episode are uneven. They don't excite people. There are some great moments in it, but there are a lot of dull moments, or a lot of moments that should have been better that weren't. Picard just hits every single episode.
Right. Yeah, it's also does a thing that I think good television should do, which is you're left like, what happens in the next episode? Now,
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't happen always with every episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
No, Star Trek were capsule episodes. They were basically, they went to a planet, they learned something about humanity and themselves, and then they went to the next planet. The idea of episodic Star Trek didn't occur until the end of the season leading into the next season. That's the only time you really, you had part 1s and part 2s in Star Trek. So you can watch Star Trek in any order, and it doesn't matter when you pop in or pop out.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's look, what this show is. This show, Picard season 3, every episode is a cliffhanger. Every episode leaves a piece of unfinished business to get you to watch the next episode. So here's the statistic I think that you need to look at, which is retention, right? I mean, I checked out the first episode of the first season of Picard. I love the character. I was not hooked. I think I maybe checked in on a second or third episode, and then I dropped off. Not gonna lie, I dropped off, and I didn't care.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was with it. Also with Mandalorian season 1.
You know what I never missed, though? I never missed an episode of Red Letter Media reviewing Star Trek Picard. because their insight was so much more entertaining than the actual show. It was hysterical. So yeah, but yeah, I checked out. So how do you retain an audience? Well, with the single thing in storytelling that every story, all storytelling comes down to one thing. I want to know what happens next.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so engaged. I want to know what happens next. And Picard season 3 has done this. Picard season 3 has hooked the audience in a way, at least for me, and for those watching. And I want to hear your comments on Picard season 3. Are you hooked? And I don't think that the Mandalorian's been doing that.
Mm-mm.
Alan, are you caught up on Picard, and what are your thoughts?
I am not caught up on Picard. I thought I had till Friday to do it, but again, it is great. This is the best for me for my world of television. It's the best thing on television at the moment. And that's very small. I'm a movie person, so that's where most of my time is spent. But
sorry, I have
yeah,
people.
I mean,
yes?
it's such the blend of nostalgia with new storytelling is I think what excites me most about Picard. The heart, just to see Odo in even the picture when they're talking about the foundlings was awesome to me.
Yep. All right. Well, look. What?
I know. I say something and you're like, "Yep."
I was listening the whole time.
I know. I'm doing the same thing. I'm going through. I mean, the chat, like you say, is on fire, and
the chat's on fire. I gotta go. We're gonna get to the super chats, but someone I want to point out here. I love her channel. Wait, where did it go? You had it. Retro Nerd Girl had a comment. It was highlighted. What happened to it?
You unhighlighted it.
I did not. Oh, here it is. I got it. Retro Nerd Girl, who has this amazing channel. If you check out Retro Nerd Girl's channel, because what she's doing is she's talking about all of the classic sci-fi that I grew up watching, and she's kind of doing a revisitation to some classic science fiction, like Logan's Run, among other things, and revisiting it. Retro Nerd Girl goes on to say, I've yet to see anything from Star Trek since the 2009 movie. Still can't move on from that.
Is that Insurrection? Or
No. The 2009, that's the J.J. Abrams movie. There are things I liked about that film. It's the most Star Wars of the Star Trek movies. It's fun. I didn't like any of the other two movies after that. I did not like. The 2009 movie, at least it tries. It's sort of tip of the hat to the old Star Trek. Kirk is kind of let's face it, he's a womanizer. And that's Kirk. He used it in his favor. He'd always seduce like the queen of some alien planet. He was seduced. I don't think what is wrong with that? It bothers me that, like, does modern Star Trek have to be sexless? Can there be no, romance, sexless, romantic, romance free? It's not. I don't like that.
Well, that's an all other topic. The idea of romance in movies anymore is almost gone.
That's almost gone. That's another thing that's died. But Retro Nerd Girl, check out her channel. And I there's some things I like about the 2009 one, but I get it. I get it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll say this about the 2009, because at that point in time, I just felt like Star Wars, that Paramount was going to do no more television, and that Star Wars was dead at that point. And to bring in that 2009 Star Trek was somewhat refreshing, even though they called it a reboot. I think there are elements that I liked about it, and it was kind of like, okay, I'll see this ride and see where they take Star Trek from then on, and then all this crappy television came out after it.
Well, there you are. Back to your comments and questions here. Matthew Hammond for $4.99. What will happen with the writer's strike? Could it force studios to stop being woke, or will it kill off a generation from enjoying movies and TV? Here's what will happen. One, I think the discussion surrounding AI will heighten. And if you just look up keywords WGA and AI, it is being discussed the use of AI in screenwriting and television writing right now. Secondly, you're going to see a lot of new, it depends on how long the strike goes. My understanding is the strike is 4 to 5 weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if it could still be averted, but they'll lean a lot into reality television. You're going to see a lot of independent films get bought up and released. That's what's going to happen. And then also when the strike, when whatever the result of the strike, whether the strike happens or whether it, whether they've got to have a contingency plan, what you're going to see is that the more experienced people are going to be hired back, and maybe the less experienced people will not. That's my prediction. Alan, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. I mean, I'm so far away from this issue. One thing I've heard, and I'm not sure is true, but it seemed like that the WGA was pushing, like, codifying diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but it's I wouldn't put it past them, and I think that might also be a sticking point of kind of, are you going to codify in a contract the very thing that is turning people off to your product? In the past,
you could certainly comment on the last sentence. Could it force studios to stop being woke, or will it kill off a generation from enjoying movies and TV? And also, or
will it be the wedge? Will it be the thing that is fought over the most in this debate or in the strike?
Look. Here's a question to ask yourself right now, and you can research this and look this up. Fewer people are going to the movies. The habit of going to the movies has been broken. Now, people like you and I, to me, going to the movie theater is like my church. I like to go minimally once a week, if not more often. I love to go to the movies, but that is a habit that not everybody has. When you look at movies have always faced challenges in terms of the attention from people who are regular users, regular customers, whatever you want to call it. Movies faced challenges from television. Movies faced challenges from all sorts of things. The internet, video games. There are lots of different things you can do on a screen. Social media is now a channel of entertainment. So you've got social media, video games, television, and the movies. And fewer people are going to see films. That's why what's happening with movie theaters now is pivoting more towards what they call the premium experience, which is movies in IMAX, movies using Dolby Digital, movies that Alan, I know that you've partaken in this, the dine-in.
Oh, yes.
The dine-in experience where, just bring my nachos to my seat.
Oh, yeah. Literally last week was like, I'm hungry. I'm going to get lunch. And I saw a good person for lunch.
Oh, wow. Can you review that movie for us?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay. Maybe we'll do that on Friday.
Okay. We got a lot to review on Friday.
We get a lot. Friday's going to be a big rapid fire of lots of movies. Yeah.
By the way, if you follow me on social media, I recently posted, because I went to buy my ticket for Dungeons and Dragons at my local IMAX theater.
Oh, you should share that. Share it.
Yeah, and I was the first person to buy a ticket for the 6:30 screening of Dungeons and Dragons. This was yesterday. No, there was no tickets sold for that.
Alan, you gotta share it. You gotta share your. Was it on your Twitter or Instagram?
It's on my Twitter.
Okay,
it's on both.
Let me get to some more of these comments here. Ferret Man 23 for $1.99 says Star Trek the OG was full of so-called diversity. Star Trek has always been diverse. That's why I never thought about it, because they didn't even talk about it. To me, that is the better thing, is when you don't talk about it. You don't talk about someone's ethnicity, or in the case of Star Trek, you had people from other worlds that were also part of the diversity. People's sexuality was not a topic of conversation. It just was assumed somebody's going to fall for Captain Kirk. But yeah, thank you for that, Ferret Man 23. JWT for 6577.
Yeah. Here's my IMAX theater. And, I think I ultimately bought that seat right there.
Wait, you moved?
Well, this is what popped up, and I was like astonished that I was the only one who was buying a ticket.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's and I actually use the AMC app just to see like how full it is. John Wick 4 was packed. I was lucky to get the seats that I got. It was a nearly full IMAX screening. Crazy. So yeah. Wait, I didn't get through. JWT 6577 for 5. With aging and divided fan bases, both franchises are headed for the same sad end. They're falling out of cultural relevancy and soon. I hate to agree with you, but I agree with you. It's not a guarantee. Even Marvel movies are not a guarantee anymore. A Marvel movie was like hey, let's just cash this $1 billion check.
Mm-hmm.
And
they felt Star Wars was the same way. I mean, Star Wars was the same way when the first one, Force Awakens, came out, then Last Jedi. It made a lot of money,
right?
But it's not guaranteed anymore. They spent their check on those.
Stephen Ellis has become a new YouTube member. Thank you for that. We're doing a really good giveaway in April. I have a really good we'd give away. If you're part of our, if you become a member, one, you get access to our Discord. The Discord code is in the members community tab.
It will be, yes.
Yeah. You got to repost the fresh one. We post a lot of like giveaways, either Blu-rays or just codes that you can redeem for digital copies of movies. So there you go. Foresight for 10. I loved Star Wars as a kid, but I like Trek more as an adult. The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine remain my favorite shows to this day. The slow, mysterious introduction of the Dominion in Deep Space Nine was masterful.
I am a huge fan of Deep Space Nine.
Jonathan Coble for $9.99 says, "Hail Film Threat. I've been a lifelong Star Wars fan and checked out after The Last Jedi. Lucas's Star Wars and the EU will always be my canon. Disney had to intentionally ruin Star Wars. The soullessness is the downfall." It is very sad to kind of see in real time. That's why I'm actually wearing like the Star Wars hoodie. I think I bought this way back in like 2010, before even like Disney bought Star Wars. I had this, and it's the old school original Star Wars logo. Is what I'm currently wearing. And
that's something interesting though. But compare the merchandising of Star Wars to the merchandising of Star Trek, and there's no question who the winner is.
There's some good there's some good Star Trek stuff.
There is, but compared to Star Wars,
I had the Mego figures when I was a kid. But yeah, it is soulless, and I think part of that is the toys. Jonathan Coble, if you see the toys that come from Disney, whether the Marvel toys or the Star Wars toys, they have these like 12-inch figures and they look like they're in a coffin. Look at the figures. They're not in an action pose. They're just sitting there stiff-armed like they're in a coffin. They look really bad. So
I will say the best thing Disney did was the Fab Five as Star Wars characters, especially Minnie as Slave Leia. They will never do that again.
Wait, bring that up. Let's see it.
Which one? Minnie as Slave Leia?
Yes, I want to see it.
Okay.
Robert Kearney for $9.99. Picard season 3 wins hands down over Mando's season 3. What is the current poll results, Alan?
Oh, Star Trek by a mile.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll reveal the results at the end of the show. That's really interesting. All right, I got to see this.
Okay, here we go. Let me pull this up here. Here we go. Yeah. Oops, sorry. I'm trying to go backwards here. Yeah, there she is. Minnie Mouse is Slave Leia.
Oh my God, Minnie Mouse.
That is I'm gonna say a 24-inch figurine, 22-inch figurine. that you could, and they had action figures too.
It says super rare. How much is it?
Oh gosh, it is super rare.
Click on the shopping tab.
Yeah, let's see.
It should tell you the prices.
Well, the big fig. Let's see. There's the recent one, the Leia. That's at $650. Let's see.
Slave Leia. All right, more of your comments here. Star Wars was clearly bigger, so its fall has been a lot worse, says Sifax, who's a member. Well, thank you for that. Did you even find it?
No, I don't think anyone's selling it. It's so rare.
Dolphin Time. Woke Trek and Woke Wars are both in the gutter. Fair point. Samuel Aratan says, original trilogy of Star Wars felt fantastical and ethereal. Prequels explained too much and had iffy script, and sequel trilogy is dog water that stomped on men anytime they developed better than Rey. It's unfortunate, but that's true. Very, very true. Oh my God, I forgot about this. Andor is not done. There is a season 2. What are your thoughts on season 2, Alan?
Okay. Yeah, so Diego Luna was at Miami Film Festival talking about it. So this is what he says, whether you believe it or not, that's something. But he basically liked the fact that they split the season up, and he claims that they've listened to the criticisms of the first season, and that gave them an opportunity to right the wrongs, to right any wrongs they may have made. And so the impression we got was that they learned lessons from the first season, and they will apply those lessons to the second season.
I don't know.
The question is, do you believe that?
I don't know if I believe it. Are they? I mean, really, I think the thing that people were upset about was the pacing more than anything.
Yeah, and that's something you can fix. That is absolutely something you can fix.
Well, we'll see. Okay, more some super chats here real quick, and we'll cut. I like to go back and forth here between Dr. Fauci's prison butt for 5. That's a real person's name.
Yeah, he's been with us since the beginning.
I love reading it every time. I love it. What would you think of a 5-year flash forward where 7 is in command of a refit Intrepid class with Jack as her tactical officer with EXO by S2?
Yes, sadly, it's who's writing it.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be who's writing it. I will say this. I like this world. If Picard season 1 had been like what season 3 is currently, it would change the equation.
Or even if you make a series based on the captain of the Titan.
Captain Shaw?
Yeah.
By Todd Stashwick?
Yeah, give him a series.
By the way, I've been following Todd Stashwick on social media, Instagram and Twitter for years. And as soon as I watched like the first episode of Picard, I DM'd him. I'm like, dude. And he told me that he was like having drinks with Jonathan Frakes, like as I'm messaging him. I couldn't believe how good the character was. Like,
he's not a bad guy at all.
He's not a bad guy. I mean, he's in the way, at least in the first few episodes.
He's in the way of Picard and Riker hijacking his ship. Yes.
Correct. He's in the way, but he's such a great look, I don't know how you work him in. Get Todd Stashwick on there more. There could be a Captain Shaw series. The way that he's like this sort of buttoned up by the book.
Yeah.
Like hard ass. He's a hard ass. I like that there's conflict. I also, you know what I like? Subtle thing about Picard is I just like that, like, it feels like there's protocol, even though they're breaking protocol. Okay. But it feels like there are protocols to get around. They actually respect the fact that it's a military organization.
Yeah.
There are military protocols that must be respected. And I don't feel that was part of any of the new Star Trek. It seemed like it was just like the rules are made to be broken. Who cares? You could probably learn from some of your underlings. It's like dealing with a bunch of Gen Zers. Have you heard of this stupid concept called reverse mentoring?
Oh no.
Look it up. First of all, look it up.
That just sounds horrible.
I'll be right back. But look it up. Okay, look it up.
Mentoring. All right.
Reverse mentoring. Look it up.
Okay, so here we go. I'll whip it on the screen here. Whip it up. Right. And I've got to make it bigger. Sorry, folks. There we go. Here we go. So in a reverse mentoring partnership, colleagues pair up regardless of seniority to learn from one another. This can benefit both parties' careers in several ways, sharing specific expertise such as technology and leadership skills, bridging generational and hierarchical gaps, and improved communications. That sounds wonderful. But again, there's something about experience versus your feelings, experience versus some ideology you may be following. Because sometimes the way you want the world to work is not the reality of how the world works. And that's where mentoring comes in. That's where people who have gone down the road and have lived the life you want to live can go back and share with you what it took to get there. And sure, things have to change over time. Things have evolve. But, there's something to the word wisdom that we all forget here. So yeah, there you go. Yeah. So it's basically for young people to get with old people and tell them how bad they are and their ancient ways. So good job, folks. Good job, humanity. Let's go down here to let me grab a couple of other ones here. Amina Chains, I love both, but Star Wars is dead because it belongs to Disney. Yeah. For a while there, I thought they had something going. That Slave Leia was, that was Disney's idea. And it sounded like they had a lot of fun making it. Even the Darth Maul Donald Duck was fantastic.
Did you find out how much it was?
No, because no one's selling it right now. It's so rare.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
Because there was a point where even Disney was selling like figurines of Carrie as Slave Leia. And then word got out that it was wrong and they shut it down. They shut it down fast.
Let's go to more chat comments and questions. What's the poll? Can you bring up the poll or give us like where it's going right now?
Yeah, let me.
We'll shut it down. We'll shut it down in like 10 minutes ish.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. No, it's still Star Trek by.
What are the stats?
It's not even close.
Well, what are the stats?
Yeah, we have like almost 400 votes, and. You want to show it to you now, or do you want to?
Well, we have 600 people watching. We should have at least 600 votes. If you're able to, please vote in this poll.
It's in the chat.
It's Star Trek, Star Wars, or I love them both. There you go. All right. Did you read this chat?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Sanjuro Shinjitsu's a member says both are dead AF, but Picard season 3 stabbed adrenaline into the heart of Star Trek. I love that.
It's showing you it could be saved. It could absolutely be saved.
That's the thing. But is it too? Here's the question now, and we should discuss this. Is it too late? Is it too late for Star Trek? Let's continuing with super chats here. Magnum Norse for 5. I remember watching A New Hope on tape and going to the arcade to beat people up on Mortal Kombat. I miss the personal elements of entertainment. Well, I miss in-person experiences, like actually going to a physical arcade. There's this arcade near me called Neon Retro Arcade, and I love it. I love that arcade.
Well, John Wick 4 is 100 times better in a crowd than it is by yourself.
I'm telling you, like, I love it. Those, you're right, Magnum Norse, those personal elements. Love it. Jarrett Barkley for $4.99. I'm so tired of the mask and COVID policies that Hollywood is holding to. BTS of movies now, all the crew are still doing masks. That's behind the scenes. When will it end? That's the thing, is it's like, when will it end? It's just it's Hollywood has been the ones holding on to this more than anybody.
You know what I think though? Like we chastise Jessica Chastain for wearing a mask, but maybe it's true. Maybe she has a project that she doesn't want to get sick on, and is protecting herself. But I it still astonishes me when I come into Los Angeles to see the masks that are still being
like a ton of people wearing masks,
especially outdoors.
Especially outdoors. Oh, I see people outdoors all the time, but the percentage is small. I would say it's under 5%. Does that seem about accurate,
Yeah.
Alan?
Yeah. But also, I've heard a lot of stories of we had this great actor, but they got COVID and we had to replace him at the last minute. So that's certainly a thing. But that raises the other question: is what does it actually mean nowadays to get COVID? Is it the disease that we thought it was, or is it something? I'm not saying that people aren't dying of it, but certainly not a lot of people are.
By the way, every time I go off camera and mute myself, I've been blowing my nose. When I blow my nose, it's extremely loud. It is like a bullhorn. So I am saving you. If you see me go away, that's what I've been doing. And by the way, I did test myself for COVID, and right before the show, and I checked, and I don't have it.
Is enough time? Yeah, I guess enough time has passed.
Yeah. So I didn't start feeling really sick until yesterday. I mean, I was tired over the weekend, but I didn't feel sick. Yesterday afternoon, I started, I am sick. But this is what I'm dealing with. Standard issue cold. It's fine. I haven't had one since 2019, so I'm well overdue. And you know what? I got a cold at a convention. I don't think I got it at the convention. I went on no, it was Monday night. I went to see a movie, and it's the AMC in Santa Anita. They literally keep the air conditioning. The air conditioning is on in every one of their theaters. I was freezing, and I was wearing like this big puffy jacket, and I was still cold. So yeah, but Jarrett, you're right. Jarrett Barkley. The behind the scenes of movies, it's people still in masks and stuff. It's weird. Yeah. It's a weird virtue signal. And I don't know.
Stars don't want to get COVID from the peons.
Yeah. It's just so elitist. I'm over it. I can't stand it.
Yeah. By the way, you exhausted yourself. That's why you're sick.
Yeah, that's probably part of it. I also didn't take my vitamins. I took a very specific vitamin regimen. I'm really I didn't take my vitamins over the weekend. I think that did not help. Robert Kearney for $4.99 says 11 a.m. showing has mostly loungers occupied. Yeah, it's those premium theater experiences, the Dolby Digital. There's another one called Prime Digital. Am I right?
Yeah, I think, is that Regal?
I'm not sure. And then they have the IMAX.
No, Prime is okay. I want to say
Prime is AMC. Prime is AMC, and it's
I think Prime and Dolby are the same thing.
Yeah, so I always pick I want to pick the deluxe experience. Yeah, you got to go. I saw John Wick 4 in IMAX. It was fantastic. John Wick 4 was good, but I preferred 1 and 2. Sue me, says Stephen Ellis for £2. Fair, totally fair. I think that John Wick 4 has the best action, but I think it's the second best John Wick movie because the first one had more emotional weight. And you're fair to it's sort of like debating flavors of chocolate or I don't know, or not flavors of chocolate, but flavors of ice cream. You know what? You can like what you like. It's fine. It's a personal experience. So I'm not going to sue you. I'm going to say you have the right to your opinion. But I'd say John Wick 4 is the second best of the John Wick films.
Yeah.
Robert Kearney for $9.99. John Wick 4 is the first movie my wife and I have seen since COVID at a large screen with reclining loungers. Need more movies like that. Well, I don't know. I don't know what you're going to see that's close to that.
Yeah. Well, John Wick 4 was the first movie I think I was 100% certain my daughter would like.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, we saw my neighbor Totoro last night.
All right.
In the theater. Yeah. She'll tell you it's overrated.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I just inflamed half the audience.
Why?
We were not super impressed with my neighbor Totoro.
What?
Yeah.
Alan, that's practically heresy there.
I know. Sorry. I could go into it, but yeah. I don't
go into it just for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the best part of the story was the two little girls. But But for a movie called My Neighbor Totoro, he doesn't do a whole lot.
Well, can I just say, I can't wait to isolate that comment you just. My favorite part of the movie was the two little girls.
Yeah. But the idea that the movie ends on a cat bus, it's kind of, it's like, what are we watching here?
Well, I'll say, look, Robert Kearney, I'm glad you finally got to the theater, large screen. I assume you had drinks or popcorn or refreshments. There's just something about that experience that I don't know. This is why I go to the movies every week. But also, there might be some other fun movies coming soon. Maybe perhaps you saw a trailer for a movie called Sisu. I'm invited. Just got invited to a screening, Alan.
Yeah, I'm going that Wednesday.
I'm going on Tuesday
after the stream. Okay.
If you want, you could go on Tuesday.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's hard for me to. Tuesdays and Thursdays are tough too.
I hear you. Okay, Lori Ormond for 5. Hey, I will now refer to Chris as Chris. Spoiler alert, Gore. Just kidding. Love the movie regardless. Oh no, did I ruin something? Oh my god.
I will refer to Chris as Chris as well. Oh, was that from last time or was?
Yeah,
I don't think we mentioned it.
I'm sorry. Oh my god. Okay. Spoiler alert. Yeah.
By the way, I'm glad some people agree with me about Totoro.
Yeah. That it's overrated.
Yeah. I'm getting a lot of hate, but I think for the most part, some people actually agree.
All right. Well, Lori, thank you so much for that.
Look, my daughter's a fan of Ponyo. She is a fan of Arietti. So it's not like she doesn't like Miyazaki.
Right. Anonymous says DS9 has really grown on me. Benjamin, MF, and Cisco. Love it. Let's see. Mr. Smith, who's a member, says, give Kurtzman's job to Terry Metalis. We might have some good Trek for a bit. And Stunt Brett 777 Smith says, have any of you guys seen Jesus Revolution? Awesome. About the movement in the 60s and 70s. Kelsey Grammer was amazing as Chuck Smith. Alan actually reviewed the film.
Yeah, we reviewed it. Yeah, it was very good. Especially for a faith-based movie, which is not something I say often. But yeah, Kelsey Grammer was great. It's kind of nice to see him back, uncancelable. And there you go. Let's see what else.
No, I got.
Oh, you're back.
Jason, okay. Yeah. Sorry. Every time I go off, Alan, if you see me go off, just kill the time. Jason Webster says, if you love John Wick Chapter 4, 2023, then may I suggest South Korean action films No Tears for the Dead from 2014, The Villainous from 2017, and The Killer, A Girl Who Deserved to Die from 2022. So Jason Webster.
The Villainous is one I need to see.
Yeah. Thank you for these recommendations. What I'm finding really interesting is, we just talked about it today when I was on the Nerdrotic Nooner, the fact that a lot of Netflix content that's foreign, the Korean TV shows and movies, the foreign stuff is doing a lot better than their modern day stuff. So shouldn't surprise me, but thank you for that. Sir Switch Crookington says Totoro worst Miyazaki.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Toxic Waltz and 8. I'm with Alan. Totoro is bottom tier Miyazaki. Well, there you go.
It was just pumped up to me so much. It's like, you have to see it. You have to see it. And we saw it.
Well, the Nerd Far Away says, I love Totoro. I don't care if Alan doesn't like it.
That's fine. A lot of movies I don't like that plenty of people like.
It's fine. And I will say this, like, sometimes my opinion of a movie changes with time, right? You see a movie when you were younger or a different period in your life. God, I remember I saw Ghostbusters, the first Ghostbusters, 1984, and I was going through a terrible breakup with my high school girlfriend, and I saw Ghostbusters and hated it because I hated everything. Because I was just like, oh no, I was just like, very, whatever, emo, depressed, whatever you want to say. But I didn't like Ghostbusters. Then I saw it years later. I'm like, okay, you know what? I really like that movie. I love the first Ghostbusters. So I think like context, also like a movie you see where you may not understand it or it grows on you. Like that's why I think your first reaction to a movie, don't think that can be your one and only reaction, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I was a massive fan of the OG Saturday Night Live, and just
right.
have Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd in a movie to me, it was. I mean, I'll admit it. In my own mind, that couldn't fail, and it didn't. And so sure, I was pretty biased to liking Ghostbusters when it came out.
Yeah,
even the second one.
Subtle Deviancy for 5 says, I can't get excited over the Dungeons and Dragons movie when the best adaptation was a Brazilian car commercial of the cartoon characters. Well, I haven't seen that.
Yeah. By the way, my city can't get excited over Dungeons and Dragons. So,
yeah, obviously.
well, you're not the only one.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of it too is sometimes a movie, when they push it too much. God, I remember when Batman v Superman came out, and I'm a Batman fan. I was so over that. I was just like, God, would you just show? There was so much promotion for it, so many stories written. I just was over it. Dinner Bells, DS9 was the one series I refused to watch growing up. A space station, boring. Who are all these random people? That view changed once I grew up and had some actual life experiences. DS9 is the best. Fair point. JTPRX as a member says, FDEI, the worst thing to happen to entertainment. Do you think that the coming layoffs is going to affect Disney and DEI? Alan? Alan, you're the Disney fan.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I have no inside knowledge on this, but I would think that of the useless departments there are out there, DEI is probably one of them. The department that's going to cost you more. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, they got rid of the whole the meta division at Disney.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I just think, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, at some point you would think cooler heads would prevail and that maybe common sense would come back. Maybe this is wishful thinking. But when you're laying off 7,000 people, and this is my frustration with these layoffs. These executives who made these bad decisions and tanked their company, they're still there. They're still collecting their paychecks. They'll still make millions of dollars, while 7,000 people are now out of jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's no, what's the repercussions for these board members?
Gary Sullivan says, I stopped going to the theater for new films at least 5 years ago. I still go to the Charles for retrospectives. Old movies rock. And Nick from Echo Base Network for $9.99. I'm really enjoying Picard season 3. But this one-off season will not save Star Trek. Star Wars at the end of the day has more potential, especially since Kurtzman's contract just got renewed. Well, we'll see. I mean, Kurtzman Trek, you have to look at retention. Retention is a bunch of people watch the first episode to check in, then fewer people watch the second episode, then even fewer watch the third, and then everyone checks out by the end of the season. That's my guess of what the statistics are for Picard season 1 and 2. For when it comes to Picard season 3, my guess is it's possible it either was steady or even went up. But thank you, Echo Base Network. Appreciate that. We shall see. Sir Switch Crookington, Kiki's delivery service is great to introduce to your kids. Is you want to expose them to child predation early. I know what you're trying to say. This movie is way too sus.
Yeah, I think there's some truth behind, like I said, my daughter Ponyo and Arietti were her favorites, and they were his later works. So I'm thinking that maybe Kiki's delivery service, that might appeal to her versus Spirited Away, which still to me is the weirdest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah. Toby P. Graham says, I'm a Star Wars fan and I've never really watched much Star Trek. I still voted for Star Trek simply because the fans seem to really enjoy Picard. I haven't enjoyed Star Wars since Disney took over. Zavin says, young firebrand activist writers can enjoy the unemployment line. Make entertainment, not sermons. And Dolphin Time says, if Kenobi was actually a good show, I might have not canceled my Disney Plus subscription and given Andor a chance, but nope, never again. Here we go. Subtle Deviancy for 2 says, sent D&D video of commercial to your Twitter for 2. Thank you for that, Subtle Deviancy. I'll check it out. So, yeah, I think Kenobi was kind of a nail in the coffin. What are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. Because it is definitely the worst, and you kind of you don't see much correction when it comes to the Mandalorian. It's better. It's definitely better than Kenobi, but the inherent problems and the inherent weaknesses of storytelling is just gone. Again, to me, the biggest mistake, we're not talking about the Force anymore. Jedis basically have telekinetic powers, and that's the Force. With Star Trek, the idea of the Prime Directive, that used to be the thing that they would drill into everyone. Why we follow the Prime Directive, why it's so important. And I just never got that sense from any of the new Star Treks, even the prequels, the early Star, the so-called prequel Star Treks.
Yeah. Let's see. We're lucky James T. Kirk Shatner isn't alive in this modern timeline. I don't count the Strange New Worlds. Kirk says, girthy guitarist. Always good to see you back, girthy guitarist. I'm a fan of alliteration.
Didn't someone say they reference Kirk in Picard?
But I think it's like Kirk's brother.
Oh, okay.
Because Kirk's
that's
brother.
Right. I think his uncle or his brother is in Strange Worlds.
Yeah. Well, his brother died in the original Star Trek series. Right? Remember? I
don't remember.
All right, Alan. Well,
yeah,
let's look at the final results of the poll. Can you share it? Oh, wait. We have a super chat just came in here.
Okay.
Evar Jantz for 5 says, bit of an aside, just a reminder, if you guys at some point can compare the 2 Three Musketeer trailers that recently came out, one felt woke, one did not. Interesting. I wonder if they edit them to be woke. I know that they do that a lot with the way that they promote it.
Which one?
Very bizarre.
Yeah, everything. I mean, look at Peter and Wendy.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, let's
okay.
Let's
Should we end the poll?
Yeah.
Mr. Stewart, what did you think of The Mandalorian?
Well, that's what Patrick Stewart thinks. I think we now know where Patrick Stewart's head is at. What are can you share the screen, Alan?
I ended the poll and now the poll's gone. So now I got to find it. Why would they do this? Why would they? By the way, let's see. I know.
Alan, what were the results of the poll, Alan?
I'm trying to find it.
Alan, can you find the results of the poll?
I can tell you the results of the poll. I can't find the results of the poll.
Alan, quickly. 10 seconds, Alan. Alan, hurry.
Yeah, I love Google. Google is awesome.
Alan, quick. Alan, we're running out of time, Alan. Quickly. Alan, hurry.
Oh my God. Anyone know how to find the poll? Okay, I'm going to have to just tell you because I can't find it.
Alan, quick. Lives are at stake, Alan.
It's gone.
Alan.
It's gone.
Oh, come on. Hurry, Alan. Hurry. You need to know.
The universe is doomed.
Alan, quick. All right.
Oh, dear God. All right. Okay,
what were the final results?
Let's just say Star Trek 1 at 69%. Literally, it was 69%.
Was it for real?
We're not making that up at all.
Wait, we need a clean cut.
Star Wars was at 17.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And whatever was left
was the I love them both. Wow. Yeah. Well, it just goes to show you get one good series. You know, it's like, look, Star Wars is one good. I can't believe it was 69%. Oh my God. That's hilarious. Oh my God. But well, it just goes to show. It just goes to show all you need, like Star Wars is one good movie away from everyone being, because I think fandom is very forgiving. Fandom is very forgiving, you know?
Yeah.
So, and apparently there are literally, and we'll talk about this on another stream, 12 announced Star Wars projects that aren't happening. Can you believe that?
I can't be, only in the sense of, you know, it surprises me that they gave up on it, or that maybe someone has some you know, some wisdom over at Lucasfilm and knows that they just can't keep going the way they are. That there's no money to be made.
All right. Well, let's pivot for a moment. We're gonna pivot, folks. You know, we always like to. We like to pivot. One of the best parts of this show is that we get to talk to filmmakers at all levels, filmmakers that are seasoned veterans that have made independent films opening in theaters, filmmakers who've made their first feature films. It is rare that we get to talk to a short filmmaker who's at the beginning of their journey. And I want to welcome onto the Film Threat Livecast. There's over 600 of you watching right now. Keep watching, because part of my not so secret agenda with Film Threat is to give you access to filmmakers as a way to inspire you to make your own films. Let's talk to Derek Rosenfeld today about his movie Pothole. And first of all, sir, you get that Flash Gordon shirt. Look at that shirt. Is awesome. Where did you get that?
I got it on the Queen online store, actually.
The Queen online store actually has a Flash Gordon t-shirt. I have not seen that.
Might be sold out though now.
That is fresh. Derek, thank you for being. First of all, I didn't mean to I thought it was funny. You showed up early in the show, and I'm like, wait, we'll get you at the end of the show. It's all good, man. It's all good. We're doing this by the seat of our pants, but I'm happy that you're here today. Awesome artwork in the background. Tell us about your short film Pothole.
Well, the whole thing started probably 25 years ago. Actually, I'm a little older than I might look, but I was living for a brief time in Fargo, North Dakota, and I was there during the winter months, and it got so cold, and the with the salting and the high winds and all that, the roads were basically destroyed. I mean, they didn't have potholes; they had like craters basically in all the roads. And so while I was living out there, my uncle, who was living in New Jersey, called me up, and he knew I wanted to be a writer. And he asked me to write a story for my cousin's second grade class. She's 32 now, to let you know how long ago it was. But that kind of started, these ideas I had for this movie. A couple of years after that, I started to compile a short fiction book that I self-published, and the Pothole story in another form was in that. And I got a little sidetracked here and there. I was involved in some other disciplines, and finally, I was sitting on the script that I had written for a very long time, and just felt that, it was now or never. I was fortunate enough that my college, after a couple of years after I graduated, they were left $100 million endowment, and they created a theater program. And so when it was time to decide to make the film, all I had to do was go back to my alma mater. I went to the theater program, talked to a few people, and very, very fortunately, I met Sam Simone, who was an aspiring actress there and about to graduate college, and she brought along Matt Algazzini. And little things happen here and there, but finally we went out one night, as Alan had mentioned in his review, which I love, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Let's bring up the review.
I love the review. It's like, that's the reason I'm talking to you guys right now, is because you're, the most honest, and you love movies. So
yeah, it wasn't exactly glowing, but
no, it doesn't have to be. No, it doesn't have to be.
What's the story of the film? I mean, the plot.
Well, basically, you have a young couple. They're stranded out in the middle of nowhere with a flat tire, 2 flat tires actually, and Betty, who's played by Sam Simone, she's trying to fix the tire, but she doesn't really know what she's doing. And it's hinted in the beginning of the film that they hit a huge pothole, and it actually flattened 2 of their tires. So in the middle of a smoke break, they are approached by, that which, put them in that predicament. And it turns out that it speaks, but doesn't really understand English very well. There's a lot of F-bombs and C words, and a few sexual situations and jokes here and there. And it wants Betty and Clyde, the male character, to teach it better English through actions and some, a few other ways that, are explained later in the film.
Okay, well, that sounds very fanciful. Let's go to, got over 500 people watching us live, so let's go to our chat comments and questions for you. Jamie G, Voltaic Blood, who's a member, says, hello, Derek.
Hello, Jamie.
RMFX says, it's about a they, a them, and a galaxy. Oh, that was referencing our earlier conversation. We were talking about Star Trek.
I don't think I started that for him.
That's okay. Retro Nerd Girl says, I'm in Fargo, so I know. You got to check out Retro Nerd Girl's channel. I didn't know you were in Fargo. That's awesome.
Great time.
Hey, Derek, thanks for being here, says Stunt Brat 777 Smith.
Thank you.
Jerry Time says, Derek, question for you. Derek, Trek or Wars, which is in worse condition?
Star Wars by far.
Well,
yeah, by far. Not even close.
Yeah. And then Tony Bowers asks, who's a member, did he say the pothole talks?
Yeah, watch the movie. My close friend, Dave Rogers, who I felt was gifted with a great voice, kind of the gift of gab. He was an easy choice for me to ask him, and all it cost me to get him to do it was some pot, some Brazilian barbecue, and about $40.
All right.
Well, let me ask you this. I kind of mentioned the review, but where are you in your filmmaking journey, and then where does kind of potholes take? Is this your first, or is it I think I always tell filmmakers who do shorts, you really want to take that short and focus on one thing that's going to challenge you as a storyteller. And what can you say about potholes?
Well, it's the first thing that I had ever. Well, actually, I self-published a short fiction book about 20 years ago, and like I said, Pothole was a part of that, and not as much of a creative form, but it is the first film that I've done. And as of right now, I'm actually working on a feature-length screenplay rather than a short film or anything like that. But it is the first thing I've ever done, and I think that because the tools of creativity have kind of been democratized, I watch the live action Oscar shorts every year. They look like $100 million productions, some of them. So when I went out there, I admit, I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't go to film school. I was just a guy with a camera and a boom mic, and was fortunate enough to have a couple friends help me. And Matt and Sam were fantastic. First night we went out there, the electric generator I had blew up, and we had to come back the next night. It's a small miracle that the film is even in kind of the form that it is. So I feel very lucky to be talking to you guys and talking to your viewers.
More comments and questions here. Davina Duckworth says a talking demonic pothole is a good premise. And then Fletcher Williams asks, what software did you use? Did you go in-house or out for color correction?
I used Adobe
Premiere.
Oh yeah, that's right. Premiere Elements. That's right.
Cool. And then what was the most frustrating thing in making this short, says Akanika?
There were a few little hiccups here and there. Shooting at night, which is the way I wanted to do it. That was hard. Obviously, the first like 4 minutes of the film, I would kind of understand if people who are coming to it for the first time, I kind of understand like, oh, this looks, I can't watch the rest of it. But if you continue with the film, you could see what we shot on the first night. It gradually gets better over the course of the film. You could see where we shot the first night, and then the second night starts to get a little bit better. And I don't really think I had the greatest equipment in the world. Again, it was, I was just a guy. They call it like guerrilla filmmaking, I guess. You just run out there and do it, and that was the result. I know Alan had mentioned, a good chunk of the audio happened when I came home. We were missing some audio, and I had to bring Matt and Sam back in to re-record it. And again, that's kind of why it looks like a karate movie in some parts.
Well, let's some more questions and comments here. Spidey Sensei 72 says the potholes in I think it was at West New York can rip a tire off your car. And then Popcorn Beard asks, how many dollars did your short film cost you? Everyone always likes to know, what was your budget, if you don't mind revealing?
About $3,500.
That's relatively, that's right around the right range.
Yeah.
When I hear people spend 50 grand on a short, like, why didn't you just make a feature? So, and
because they want an Oscar, that's why.
Yeah, well, you can do that. The Nerd Far Away asks, Hollywood route versus independent route, which do you prefer and why?
Independent, you have more freedom, so I'll go independent.
I think that's a very good. When you're on the Film Threat YouTube channel, where we mostly we talk about indie film along with like big Star Trek, Star Wars kind of stuff, I think indie is a good answer. And then our last question here, One Punch Man Tolkien fan asks, how do we watch this movie?
It's up on YouTube. That's how I would tell you to watch it. I mean, I kind of, as Alan has seen it and knows, it would be kind of hard for a film festival to actually show it because of the graininess of the first few minutes. So I would tell you to go on YouTube, and I'm not a huge social media person, but I will probably in the future make a website for it.
Cool. Well, I will say this: have you seen a movie called Skinamarink?
Oh, I
don't think you have anything to worry about.
Yeah.
That movie just looks,
Yeah, no, I actually, it's kind of interesting you brought that up. I watched it, the review that you guys did a show, your review of it. I saw it later that night when you did your review, and I agreed with everything you said about it. Actually, it was probably something that should have been viewed at home.
Yeah.
But I really appreciated how it was kind of like a virtual reality experience of a nightmare. So I kind of would suggest people watch it and not. There was purpose to its low quality.
Yeah. Well, let's.
By the way, I did post the link to the short in the chat.
Is it in the chat, Alan? Can you also put it in the description for this episode so people can check out Pothole from filmmaker Derek Rosenfeld? Derek, thank you so much for joining us on the show. We appreciate it. You have excellent taste in art and t-shirts, and can't wait for everyone to check out your short. Take care. Have a great rest of your day in Fargo.
Take it easy.
Take care.
Thanks, man. You guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Later. Great. That was great. Love talking to filmmakers. Who doesn't love it? Can't believe this. I can't believe this is my job here. Let's get the link to the short in the description for this episode so other people can check it out. And that's going to be about it for us today. I am sick. I am exhausted, sick. I hope to be better by Friday. Got to get back on my vitamin regimen. I'm drinking hot tea. We'll be here Friday. And I'll tell you exactly what we're talking about on Friday. You ready for this? We're talking about Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. We're going to be talking about Matt Damon and Ben Affleck movie Air, Spinning Gold. We'll discuss that film and a couple of others. His Only Son and 1001. And we have Acid Man director Alex Lerman joining us this Friday. It's going to be a busy show as we catch up with a lot of indie movies. And also we'll answer your chat comments and questions. I'm really just ecstatic that we continue to build an audience, getting generally more than 600 plus people watching us live at any given time, sometimes more. But I'm ecstatic for that. Alan, what else?
Let's see. Keep visiting filmthreat.com. A lot of shorts coming up this week. A lot of great shorts. Also, if you happen to be in San Diego, I will be at the National Comedy Theater this Saturday, as well as next Saturday at 7:00.
I'm not going to be there.
I know you won't.
Is there an offer code for that?
Yeah, I should ask.
Ask if there's an offer code.
I should ask.
You can check that out. But
we're right near Old Town San Diego, so just to give you a little context.
I have been to that theater. It's a lot of fun. They serve beer. You can buy beer. There's a lot of cool bars in walking distance as well. Fun. It's a fun theater. I have seen Alan do things in improv I cannot unsee.
Well, you saw the wrong show. That was the problem. Really, you want me in the dirty show? Okay, I'll be.
No, I just was like, hey, what should I buy tickets for? You told me what to buy.
Yeah,
I've got the ticket, and we saw you perform, and my eyes are scarred.
I know. So my daughter's eyes are scarred as well.
It's awful, but check out Alan at the National Comedy Theater in San Diego. Check out my movie Attack of the Doc. April 21st, tickets still available, and the video on demand version will be available the week after on April 24th. And I also just want to thank you. I really look forward to talking to all of you every week. I just do. As much as I'm going from right here, my chair, to the couch for the rest of the night. But I couldn't not be here today to talk to all of you. So thank you for that. And, one of the best parts of the show is Alan topics. I'll say this.
Sexy.
I'll say this. What I saw at the National Comedy Theater show was worse than what you just witnessed.
Okay, so just to be clear, you're not going to see that on Saturday night. That was we do a family show on Saturday night. So.
Sure.
Family friendly, I'll say that. It's not for kids, but it's PG-13.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. But I just want to thank you all for joining us every week. I hope you come check us out. No matter what we're talking about, I enjoy the conversation. Chris, airborne every 3 hours. Trust me, bro, says Stunt Brat 777 Smith. Actually, you know what I do? I take zinc. Zinc is the thing that has kept me, zinc and vitamin D. And I didn't take I didn't take my vitamins this weekend. And I was around a bunch of people and, I got sick, but,
I don't wear myself out over the weekend, and that's
Alan. When I go hard.
You do.
So there you go. But thank you, everyone. We will see you this Friday. Have a great rest of your day, Alan.
Let's get out of here.